So in terms of the agenda for today, first up we have our special guests from Impact Future in Becky and Gemma. They're going to be talking through how they've been using enhanced reviews. We're then going to move on to some features that have either just landed or that we're actively developing. So we've got actions in reviews, which Freya will be talking through, activity logging, which Martin will be walking through, and then marking aid, which Rach will take you through. I'll then give you a sneak peek into what we're working on moving into 2026, a focus on a couple of areas in particular. We'll then pause for a Q&A, and then finally a bit of a sneak peek into something exciting that we're working on, at least we think it's exciting, and hope you will too. So I'll now hand over to Gemma and Becky, who will talk you through their experience of using enhanced reviews.
Thank you, Dan. So hello everybody, my name is Becky Lee, as Dan has said. I'm the Director of Quality for Impact Futures, the Impact Futures Group. I'm just going to start off by saying please feel free to use any reactions, because talking to so many people when there's only myself and Gemma that we can see on the screen can sometimes be a little bit lonely. So feedback as we go is always welcome, so thank you for that in advance. I don't want any thumbs down or crying faces though, because that will cause me to to worry, so please don't use those ones unless you really have to. For those that I've met before and had the pleasure of working with before, I have put a timer on, you'll be pleased to know, and I will not go over the 10-minute allocation, which will be very, very different for me. So just to give you a little bit of background, the Impact Futures Group currently has around 6,500 apprentices on the programme. We do other elements, but for today, we're just going to talk about those numbers. We have around 200 development coaches which actually use Aptem on a day-to-day basis, and we deliver from level 2 up to level 7. So we've got a really wide range of needs within the organisation. Today I'm joined by my fantastic colleague, I'm going to really embarrass her, Gemma Forder, who is recently appointed Learning Platform Lead and has helped transform the way that we use Aptem. We have been on a journey with Aptem, and many of you will have had conversations over the previous months. We're still on a journey with Aptem, and we're still learning what it is that our DCs and our staff and learners need from Aptem, and we're looking to enhance it all of the time. Today we're going to talk about one part of that journey, one little part of that journey, which has been had a significant impact for us, and has made a real difference, and that's the reviews. So Dan, if you can flick onto the next slide for me. We always start I always start when I'm working with teams explaining why. If people understand why you're changing something or why you're doing something differently, you get much more buy-in. We've been transforming, as I say, the Aptem, the platform, the way we use it, the way we approach it. We've been working with staff to try and get them on board and make sure that they really understand the why of what we're doing. Instead of just changing things, for the sake of changing them, it's about explaining the benefits to the members of staff. We've also been listening to our staff, and I think that's key with any change that you're making. You've got to listen to the people that are using the platform day in and day out. And by doing that, we saw the challenges that they were facing, and we also unpicked how looked at different ways that we could improve that. It coincided with some work that Aptem were doing in the background, and together the launch of the enhanced reviews and listening to our staff, it's enabled us to come together with a much better approach to progress reviews. So the reasons why we did it was basically, as outlined on the screen, it was to take away that administrative burden. The reviews were taking so long, and we had so many hoops we had to jump through from a compliance point of view, from a quality point of view. It was taking staff time to make sure that we typed up everything in enough detail to cover all of those requirements. We also felt, and we discovered, and we listened to our learners, it was turning into a very much a tick box exercise. It was, you know, transactional rather than actually asking those really important questions and, you know, using that time to really discover what it is the learner needed, how the learner felt that they were progressing, and what, you know, next steps you needed to take with that learner. So again, it was about improving learner engagement, making it become more valuable and focusing on what matters. And, you know, that's the same sort of the learner's progress, the learner's well-being, what support they need, rather than just that compliance and quality aspect. The new structure aligns with the evolving Ofsted expectations. It's about adapting to the needs of the learners. It's about listening, giving that opportunity to the learner to talk to you on a one-to-one basis and go through their individual needs. So around that inclusion element and additional learning needs, the way that we're using the new enhanced reviews really allows us to, you know, explore that, but also more importantly, evidence that we are doing so. And the AI summary, it reduces that duplication, improves clarity of what is being captured, and it allows the DCs, the development coaches, to focus on what they really should be focusing on, and that is the learner. So the why was all of those things. It was about explaining to the staff when we went to launch it that there's multiple benefits to switching the way that we approach progress reviews. I'm going to hand over to Gemma to talk through in more detail how we did that. Thanks, Gemma.
Thanks, Becky. Hello, everyone. So as Becky said, I'm Gemma Ford. I'm Learning Platform Lead for Impact Futures. So I'm just going to talk through some of the things that we've done, because we have done a lot to support this new enhanced reviews. So I'm going to look at the how, the impact, and some of the feedback early on that we've received from that. So taking a closer look at how we've transformed that review process. So what we've done is we've ensured that we've got the best out of that review summarization feature by reviewing what we already had in place. So our starting point, our reviews, and we've made them a lot more conversation focused. So by doing this, we've really encouraged learners to open up and engage in a more meaningful way. So that creates a space where they feel heard and supported in those reviews. So as Becky said as well, it no longer is a tick box exercise, it's a conversation that really matters. With doing this as well, we've introduced that AI-driven review summarizations, that enhanced feature, and it is automatically summarizing the review conversations for the development coaches in our teams. They're capturing key points and actions in real time, and this is what we've found has really saved time and ensured that nothing important has been missed in those reviews. We've separated out our skill scan. So again, this has allowed us to focus more deeply on each learner's experiences, their challenges and support needs. And it's helped us to have much more targeted and meaningful discussions around their goals, well-being and progress. So that has helped a lot in the amount that sits within that review. We've internally delivered a lot of comprehensive training, and that has really supported the success of these new reviews. So this has been really important, as I said, because it's made everyone feel really confident in using the new tools, and how also to get the best from that summarization feature and AI, because as we know, it's very new for a lot of people. We've done a lot of workshops, we've done some question and answer sessions, and we've really worked closely with the Aptem team to ensure that we've had a successful adoption and that maximum impact has taken place. We do have the integration with Microsoft Teams, and that has been a really good element for this new enhanced feature, because when the coaches do deliver that or have that review, that transcript is automatically sitting there at the end in the Aptem system. So again, there's not lots of downloading the documents, uploading, it's all seamless. And again, it saves that administration time of our coaches. And as Becky said as well, we've really ensured that we've enhanced that compliance and inclusion. So we've reviewed all our review steps and the evidence collection with Ofsted's evolving requirements. And this improves our readiness for audits, but also strengthens our support that we're giving to learners, and especially for some learners with additional needs as well. So we can have the next slide, please, Dan. Perfect. So I've just got some key things on here just to show you the impact and what we've seen as an organisation since we've done this. Obviously, it's quite new. We rolled this out about, I think it's the 1st of July. So as I say, we're still finding our feet with it, but we've seen some really strong early impact and feedback that we've had. So let's explore some of these. So we've got a deeper learner and coach connection. So by reducing the admin burden, the coaches now actively listen without any distraction because they're not frantically trying to type everything out as they go. And this does foster greater trust and empathy, and learners feel much more heard and understood. And we've found that it's really boosted both engagement and motivation within their programs. We've seen a much more learner-led conversation, which is key. You know, it really is essential. We don't want it to be coach focused or coach led. It's all about that learner and how we support them and what they need from it. So as I said, we've seen a real shift from coach led to learner led reviews in such a short space of time. Learners are now taking ownership over their progress. We're engaging in self-reflection. So we're seeing that in their reviews. They're setting goals for themselves, not just for the coach setting those goals, and they're holding themselves accountable as well. We can see that from the reviews, from what we're seeing already. We've got more tailored and responsive reviews, so that AI really helps us to capture the details of each conversation, and it really does generate personalized summaries. So again, really personalized reviews that are coming out from using this feature. And it reflects the learner's voice, and it's not just the coach's interpretation, because that's essential as well. We want that learner voice on that review. One of the big things as well, it's saved us a significant amount of time for our coaches. On average, we're saving about 15 to 30 minutes per review that they're completing, because there's that admin side has been taken away from them typing it out. We're seeing consistency in the way that obviously that review summarization is formatted. So again, we're seeing some consistency in what's coming through with those reviews, and it gives them a more meaningful dialogue, again, that's coming out in those reviews, and it's structured and professionally written. It gives us real-time insight capture, so that AI tool transcribes and summarizes key points in real time, so it enables us instant feedback loops and action planning during that session, which has really been key for us as well. If we just move on to the next slide, please, Dan. So just go through some key headlines, which I think are really lovely to see, and some of the feedback that we've received recently. So this really is the key headlines for our transformation journey when it comes to this enhanced reviews. So you can see there lots of things, efficiencies, which we talked through, that 15 to 30 minute saving, it has been key. And I think the more we develop with this, the more admin time that will be saved with these reviews as well. That conversational format, as I've said, has shifted that or boosted that learner engagement and made the experience much more meaningful. We've seen an increase in confidence significantly through reviews because learners feel much more involved now. It's all about, it's their review rather than what we need, either from a compliance point of view or from a data point of view. That's not what a review is about. So this is really about the learner and what they need. We've made sure learner voice is at the centre. We've moved away from all those checklists. They're a two-way conversation, and that's where the learners really feel heard. So that's essential for us. So overall, you can see we've really shifted from a manual admin-heavy review to a really learner-focused AI-supported approach, and that was what the intent was, and what Becky set me off to do when we enhance these reviews. And I do feel, you know, we've succeeded in that. So I just want to give you a couple of examples before I hand back to Becky on some of the feedback we've received. So we've had lots of feedback from learners and our coaches. So learners are overall, they're telling us they feel much more relaxed and supported and in control since we've embedded and started these new reviews. One quote from a learner said, "I used to feel really nervous before reviews due to the size of the review. However, now it feels much more like a chat where I can actually talk about what I need." Another learner has said, "The AI summary helped me remember exactly what I said last time and what I need to work on. It's like having a personal coach," which I think is absolutely lovely. We've also had some feedback from our coaches, so internally, and they really are seeing the benefit of these reviews as well. One of them said to us recently, "I can now focus on the learner and the AI does all the heavy lifting." And again, I think that's really key. That's what we want our coaches to be doing. And another coach has said the new format has transformed how they connect with their learners. It's more personal and productive. So again, it shows sort of that early adoption and that feedback that we're getting. So hopefully that just gives you a bit of insight into how and what we've done and sort of that early feedback and key headlines we're getting. So I'll hand back over to Becky now for our final reflections.
Lovely, thank you, Gemma. And you know, you captured all the key things. You know, it was always about the learner and it was always about the staff. And you're absolutely right. We are seeing the impact Some of that was just a collection of some of the feedback that we've got. You know, so it makes us smile every day because there's positive feedback coming through. So if any of you are sort of watching and thinking, right, I need to have a look at this, what do I do? You know, how do I get about it? Obviously, Aptem will guide you through everything. And we did receive a lot of support through the process of putting it in and making sure that it was suitable for the way that we were working with Aptem. On from a personal note, myself and Gemma, the reflection, there's 4 key things that we think have made this work. We think communication is absolutely key. I think sort of working with the staff, getting them on board, explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it, what's in it for them, what's in it for the learner, is absolutely key. The enhancing what we do it's always going back to listening to staff and looking at the problems instead of from a quality point of view. We go in, don't we, like, well, we need to do this better, we need to do that, but actually the approach we've taken is solution focused. We don't ever go with a problem without having possible solutions, and this was one of the solutions. Support, and that support from Aptem. Reach out if you're looking at this and you're not sure about something, go to Aptem, ask for that support. We will always help where we can, but more importantly for our staff, having that open door sort of approach. Any question is a relevant question. There's no stupid questions here. We are all learning together, and that's been a bit of a mantra that we've worked all the way through this process. We've provided guides, we've provided short how-to videos, step-by-steps. We've literally held hands as needed, really. And again, key for this is the data, because not only is it about the why, but seeing the impact and being able to measure the impact is absolutely critical, because what it does is it gains trust. And for us, the whole process of putting in a new approach to progress reviews hasn't just been about the progress reviews, it's about gaining the trust of the staff and also gaining the trust of the learners. Next time we go with another change for Aptem, we know that they're going to be more confident that actually it's going to benefit them in the long run. There are areas always that we can improve on, and we are continually evolving what we do and making sure that it meets the needs of our key stakeholders. We have worked with Aptem on that review process, as in we've sort of reflected on the reviews, and we've asked for a more detailed summarisation. So AI is brilliant. We just need a little bit more detail to make sure that we are capturing all of the evidence that we require. But it's a learning journey, and as with any type of learning, you're constantly trying to make it even better, and that's where we currently are. So that's everything from us. I'm going to hand back over to Dan. I hope you've taken something from that, and that it's been of benefit. Sorry, Dan, you've changed, for you. Sorry.
It's me. Yeah, I'm going to take over from you guys just to kind of take that reviews point and the summarization point. Firstly, just say thank you so much for sharing. It's so nice for us to be able to hear the impact of kind of what your tutors and coaches actually feel about it. So that's really nice. But equally, we are always looking for feedback. So the point about more detailed summarization, we're really grateful that our customers have provided us with that feedback, because we can't anticipate all the different scenarios, and we really need you guys to tell us when things are successful or need improvement. So we're currently working on how to get more detail into that summary. So if you are an enterprise customer, look out for some comms from us on that in the coming weeks. And yeah, any more feedback on this feature or any other features is always very welcome. So thank you so much to Impact for providing that, and the other customers who fed back to us as well. The next part of the webinar is going to be the just landed section. I'm going to talk really quickly so that we can get through to the next section. So I'm going to talk through one of my features, which is landing tomorrow, which is actions, and then hand over to Martin and Rachel. So we've introduced a new section in the review called Actions. It will be available for everyone following the release tomorrow night, and it can be enabled in the reviews token alongside any other review section. And then you'll have this new action section which will appear in your review. The reason we implemented this is because of feedback from our customers, again, that they wanted a smarter way to track and monitor actions. And the review, they told us that the review was the place where actions were set and monitored. So that's why we've introduced the action section here. So currently, this is going to be a workflow just for tutors. Learners and employers will have a read-only copy of this at the moment, but we'll be implementing the ability for learners and employers to add and edit actions as well. As Gemma mentioned, it's nice for learners to kind of take ownership of those things. So we definitely are going to implement that. We're aiming the November release for that ability to come out. So yes, next slide, perfect. So a tutor can add an action, set a due date, and then save the section to save the changes. So if we just move to the next one, so it'll look a little bit like this once you've added in your actions. They can then mark the actions as complete, or they could say they're no longer required, or actually fully delete them if they want to remove them from the section completely. And then once they're completed, they'll be grayed out and uneditable, but you can reopen them as well. So just like we've got on screen here. One thing to call out with this section is that this is based on conversations with customers during the discovery process. Actions will carry over from review to review to review. So it won't matter what review template you're in or what date the review is set for. Once you've created or made a change to actions in one review, that will be carried over to all the other reviews that have the actions section enabled as well. And that's because our customers told us that one thing that was really important is that currently people are looking back to the previous review to kind of see what actions were set last time, but actually it would be so much more helpful if we carried those over and they could have a current status of the actions in all reviews rather than looking back what happened last time. So that's a purposeful decision, but again, we're looking for feedback on all of this, and particularly that. So if you've got any feedback on how that works once you get to start using it, then please do let me know. This is our basic actions section. In the next couple of releases, we're going to be making some improvements. So as I mentioned, we're going to allow learners and employers to add actions and then edit and delete or complete actions added by themselves. We'll improve the user interface, so a couple of tweaks just to make it even easier to kind of see the most important actions, so some filtering options and some tabbing. And then we're also going to make actions visible in the review PDF and reportable in OData, which won't be there from the first release, but we'll try and introduce it in the next few releases. Once again, feedback super welcome for this feature, so please reach out to your CSM or directly to me if you've got anything good or bad to share, or if you've got any ideas for improvements, anything like that. Whistle stop tour on actions. I'm going to hand over now to Martin, who's going to talk to you about the activity log.
Cool, thank you, Freya. To start, I wanted to remind you of the goals driving the activity log project. It boils down to removing friction in the system to improve granularity of data collected. We will do this by actively separating activity logging from evidence submission and providing a streamlined way to log activities. Next slide, please. I'd like to give you a quick update on our progress so far. Development on the core activity log workflow is proceeding very well, and the functionality will be very close to what was previously demoed in the last roadmap webinar. We are currently working toward an early access release in January. We have engaged with over 25 customers who are dedicated to being involved and shaping this release. If you're interested in being one of the first to implement and provide feedback starting in January, please let your customer success manager or implementation consultant know. Next slide, please. Looking ahead, we've been having conversations and running demos with many prospective early access customers about the implications of these changes. It's that feedback that has driven the planning for phase 2, where we aim for the feature to work seamlessly across the entire platform. These phase 2 items are the features we consciously excluded from the January early access release to ensure we could launch quickly and gather your immediate feedback to shape the final feature set. Everything in phase 2 is what is needed to bring the new activity log to full parity with the current system. The planned work focuses on 4 key areas. Data consistency, making sure all your historical and new data merge into a single source for easy reporting. Enhanced workflows, where we will build those distinct yet connected submission pathways for both activity and evidence. Automated activity entry creation. This is essential. The time spent in SCORM components, placements and workshops is already captured by Aptem. We will build functionality to automatically raise an activity log entry based on that time. And finally, we will also be delivering tutor notifications and clear system navigation. We anticipate this body of work will be completed and the activity log will be made generally available in Q2. This marks the point where the new activity log functionality will fully replace the old system, providing a completely integrated, streamlined and data-rich experience for everyone. And now I'll hand over to Rach.
Thank you, Martin. So today we're very excited to introduce cloning for marking aid exercises in Aptem. This is a feature designed to save time and make feedback more consistent. Feedback from our users tells us that creating exercises can be repetitive in some scenarios. You have to rebuild questions, rubrics and feedback each time, and the AI learning starts from fresh instead of building on the previous learning. So with cloning, you can reuse exercises that are generic or very similar, keeping questions, rubrics and feedback the same. Admins save time setting up proven exercises as templates, and tutors benefit from faster, smarter AI feedback. So in short, this feature brings efficiency, consistency and smarter automation to your organisation. Next slide, please, Dan. So I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek of how the cloning a marking aid exercise works. So admins start by selecting an exercise from the new marking aid exercise screen. This screen is available to users with the manage marking aid exercise role. Next slide, please. So once an exercise is selected, its details are displayed. Here, this is where the admin can select the clone button to start the process. Next screen, thank you. After clicking clone, the admin chooses the program and the learning plan component where the exercise will be linked. It's just important to note here that we can only clone exercises for components that are already set up against a program rather than a learning plan component itself. So clicking next takes you to the new exercise details screen. All content from the original exercise is pre-populated. Admins can make changes if needed, but because of the AI carrying over, it's best to avoid changes that conflict with the existing questions, feedback, and rubrics. So once they're happy with the content, they confirm their selection, and to finish, the admin clicks on Submit and Finish on the next screen, and the cloned exercise is ready to use. Admins can also see if an exercise has been cloned from another directly within the marking aid screen. From the exercise details screen, they can also navigate to the original version, and they can view all clones of a selected exercise, giving full visibility across programs. So this feature will be communicated in more detail in upcoming release notes, and I'll now hand back over to Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rach. It's probably worth saying, you will have noted we're a little bit over time, so I'll whistle through this as quickly as possible. If you do have to drop, you will be able to access a recording of this webinar after the event. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our roadmap and a glimpse into what's coming next for Aptem. So you've already heard from the team today about some of the key developments that will deliver real impact in the near term. This includes reviews, marking aid and activity log enhancements. Many of you will also be familiar with other items that appear on this roadmap. We've been working on them for a while or talking about them for a while, either in development or in research. So rather than walk through everything on the roadmap, I want to focus on a couple of additional areas that reflect where we're heading as a platform in simplifying core workflows, reducing friction and building capabilities that give providers and learners more flexibility and control. These are early signals of the strategic direction we're taking. So the first thing I want to talk about is a new compliance-focused enhancement. We've heard consistently that delays in learners and employers signing key documents can slow down onboarding and create unnecessary admin, often involving multiple manual chaser emails. Now, to address this, we're developing a solution that will automate follow-up reminders, which will save admins time and speed up the processes by automatically triggering emails when documentation is outstanding. This feature is actively in development and we're aiming to release it in early 2026. The second thing I wanted to talk about is in how we capture and manage information through forms. One of the biggest pain points we hear from customers is the amount of duplication and manual work involved in managing templates at a program level. Whether it's reviews, forms, or structured workflows, changes often need to be cloned or updated in multiple places. And that can be a process that's slow, error-prone, and limits flexibility. We're now exploring a centralized, flexible template and form builder, a core capability that will sit across the platform. This will allow customers to create and manage content once, deploy it everywhere, and update it far more efficiently. Ultimately, it's about reducing admin effort, improving consistency, and giving providers more control. We'll share more on this as our research progresses into 2026. It's very much in its early stages. Just to close this section off, while Enhance remains a key strategic priority for us, continuing to strengthen the core platform is critical. Over the coming year, you'll see more visible enhancements in this space, making the platform simpler, smarter, and easier to use. I'll now hand over to Freya for any questions that might have come
in. We do have a couple of questions. We'll probably just do a couple just because I'm trying to answer them as we go in the thread as well. So someone's asked about with the new focus on granular logging and separating evidence, do we need to completely redesign our existing Aptem programs or learning plans to accommodate the new workflow? That was in relation to the activity logging. So Martin, do you want to take that one?
Yes. So speaking with customers, I think there may be some. I'm hoping it'll be a positive change. I'm hoping it'll be a simplification of what's planned, because obviously the hours can be captured against modules that don't need to be specific to hour capture. But yes, there may be some, but hopefully it will be a positive change.
Perfect. There's a question here about when the learner employer editing functionality is released for actions in November. We hope November, will existing actions automatically become editable for them? We're going to do so that learners and employers can only edit or complete actions which they created, so they couldn't delete an action that a tutor created, for example. Again, we're basing that on original discussions that we had, but if you've got feedback on that once that's available, let us know if you would kind of prefer a different workflow. And then one final one, sorry, we are running over a little bit. We rely heavily on the marking aid tool for assignment submission. Will the new separated evidence workflow maintain that integration? So again, another one on activity login and how that's going to work alongside marking aid. And Martin, can you take that one?
Oh, another one. Yes, we will be very mindful of that. It is very early doors on exactly how that workflow is going to look, but yes, it is well within our considerations to make sure that it is a good experience within the system.
Perfect. Sorry that we haven't got to, there's quite a lot of questions and we haven't even got to nearly enough of them. We'll get back to you guys individually and we'll post the questions for everyone to see. I'm trying to reply to a few in the chat as well if you have posted a question. And now, Dan, I think you're going to close the session.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Some good questions there. Okay, so just to close off, I wanted to give you a sneak peek at something brand new that we're really excited about. So we're exploring the creation of an Aptem mobile app designed to make it even easier for learners to engage with the platform. The first iteration of this will focus on removing one of the biggest practical barriers that we hear about, recording OTJT hours, something that Martin has already spoken about extensively today. The app will allow learners to log and track their hours directly from their phone, making the process faster, more accessible, and more accurate. This has been one of our most frequently requested developments, and I can see by the reaction in the chat that people are happy about this. It was also a major theme in our Aspire conference in terms of feedback that we received earlier this year. So in response, we've already developed a proof of concept and started conversations with customers to help shape the requirements. The intention is to progress this at pace. We're not going to sit on it. What you see on the screen in front of you are some early concepts of the visuals that you might see in the app. It marks an important step for Aptem. It's part of a broader strategy to make the platform simpler, smarter, and more engaging for learners. So just to close off, if anything we've covered today has sparked your interest, or you'd like to go deeper into a particular area, please do reach out to your CSM. They'll be able to arrange a follow-up session and ensure your feedback is factored in as developments evolve. Thank you all for joining us today and for continuing to share your feedback. It really does play a crucial role in shaping where we go next. Thank you to Becky and Gemma, who've come from Impact Futures today and provided some valuable insight and some sage advice on how to make best use of the features. Be sure to check out our website and follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated as we progress. And on behalf of the whole team, thank you, goodbye, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.